You're listening to Female Founders with Claire Bartlett, the podcast that tells you what it is really like to be a female founder in today's world. We share invaluable insights through personal journeys and real-life business experiences, highlighting the highs and the lows so you can move forward in your business with ease. I am passionate to share with you the realities of business and give you the strategies and simple steps you need to truly succeed with your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of female entrepreneurs and a proud sponsor of the Female Founders podcast. Managing your business finances can feel overwhelming, but Xero simplifies it all and gives you the power to keep your books in order and your mind on growth. Xero have offered an amazing 50% discount on your first 3 months with them. So if you'd like to take advantage of this amazing deal, just search refer.xero.com/female founders or follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to give this show a follow to make sure you never miss an episode and share it with any incredible. Hello everyone and welcome to the Female Founders podcast for the last episode in season 2. I cannot believe that we are here already in December, almost there at Christmas, almost ready for a break. So today I just want to give a little rundown, an overview of what's happened in season 2 and talk about this time of year and what it's really like being an entrepreneur at this time of year and trying to juggle everything. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who have been listening to this podcast, supporting it. I really, truly hope that you have taken away some absolute golden nuggets for your business. I can't believe that we've been listened to, downloaded over 2,000 times and listened to in 19 countries. Honestly, it just fills me with gratitude. Thank you to each and every one of you who have joined me on this journey. As I mentioned, end of season 2, really coming up to Christmas now. And I just wanted to talk through this time of year and what it means for an entrepreneur. Now, I know at this time of year, it's a great time for reflection. We're starting to potentially take our foot off the pedal a bit. We're looking forward to that break. I hope we're all having a good amount of time with our families over the Christmas period. But with reflection can sometimes come judgment, self-doubt and overwhelm. So I just wanted to talk through these things and maybe give some advice on how to avoid those elements of this time of year. Now, it's a really powerful thing to reflect on your business and reflect on the year that your business has just had. It's so important as a business owner to really understand how your business is performing, what is doing well, what is not doing so well, where have you put loads of energy in and maybe not reaped the rewards, and maybe certain things are bringing you in constant income without very little effort from you. So it's a really great time to review it all, understand the peaks and flows of trends in your business, but also just start to reflect on which things you want to carry forward into the next year. And this is something I do in my businesses on a quarterly basis. I do sort of a little review and a download, I suppose, of where we are as a business. But in this time of year, I really spend some quality time. I clear my diary for 2 or 3 days and I really try and review everything that's happened this year and what I'm wanting to achieve in the next year. I set some goals, but I actually really reflect on what has brought me joy in my business and what has felt more like a chore or even, a job. When we go into business for ourselves and we become entrepreneurs, the last thing we want to feel is, Sunday evening dread and having to wake up and feel, oh God, I've got this to do today. And, we're doing it because we're passionate about that thing and we're wanting to bring joy and balance to our lives. So it's important that we actually look at which elements of our business do that for us and which don't, and then have that strength to say, actually, this part of my business isn't serving me, even if it's bringing in income. If it's stressful or overwhelming for you, don't put it on the list for the following year. Cut that right here, right now. This is not serving me. It's not bringing me joy. I'll find other ways to bring income into my business. So it's a really good time to do all this reflection. But one thing that you really need to avoid is comparisonitis. Now, this is real, okay? And we all can suffer from it at any point. But it's really difficult, I suppose, especially if maybe you launched your business at the same time as someone else that you know, and they have done different or bigger, or, they've got further down the line than you have in that same time period. Then you can potentially feel like you're not doing enough, or your business isn't as successful as it should be, or you are not successful as you should be. But there's so many reasons not to look at other people, not to look at where they are at their journey, because you have to think and be realistic about your limitations and also what you are actually wanting from your business. So for me, I've been quite open about this. I have multiple businesses, and this business that this podcast is part of was launched in December 23. So we're just coming up to the 1 year anniversary of that business. And am I as far down the line as I would have probably hoped to or wanted to be by this point? Honestly, no. But I have to be kind with myself about that. I have other businesses to run. I have a household to run. I have a daughter and a husband and friends and family that I want to spend time with. And I have myself to look after. I have to keep the balance. And in doing so and looking after myself and my own mental health, it's meant that I haven't been able to put as many hours as I potentially would have liked to in the new business, which means, therefore, that I haven't got as far down the line as I potentially would have liked to. But I have a lot of other things going on, and I have to be kind with myself and appreciate that for the time that I have had available for this business, I have achieved amazing things this year. And I'm really proud of where I've got to already. For instance, this podcast, like I've already mentioned, this wasn't only launched in May, I think it was that we launched. We've already been listened in 19 countries and over 2,000 times. Like, that is incredible. And I have to look at those positives instead of focusing on the negatives, or I haven't done this or I haven't done that. Those things don't matter, and they will only fill me with negative emotions, which I don't want to carry into the new year. I want to feel positive. And you should too. You should look at your business and what all of the amazing things I have achieved this year, instead of focusing on the negatives. Because we all have a tendency to do that, right? We'll all look at the past year and pick out the things that we didn't do so well, or we didn't hit that target that we set ourselves. And we overlook all the good all the time. And we do it in every area of our lives. And it's so frustrating, because just think about, if you just change your mindset to only look for the positives, just focus on the glimmers in each day. I managed to send that email. I managed to tick that off my to-do list. I managed to get 200 people on my email list. I managed to get my first sale or get my branding done. There's so many small steps in business. And if we focused on those, on all of the positive things that we've achieved in this year in business, yes, there might be things that you didn't get round to, but then leave them on your list for 25. There's things that I'll get round to next year. Or if you reassess your why and your purpose, where you are wanting your business to go, those goals might actually not even align with that anymore anyway. So there would have been a purpose to why you haven't got round to that. So the first thing, like I said, do not be tough on yourself. Don't look around you and compare yourself to others. Just look for the glimmers, look for the positives. What have you achieved this year? Who have you helped? And what difference have you made in the world? These are the things that you should be focusing on, because Christmas is about joy, isn't it? It's about having a full heart, spending time with your loved ones and really relaxing and reflecting. And if you are filling yourself with negativity around unfulfilled, visions for your business, then you will miss the whole purpose of Christmas. Now, the other thing is tax season in the UK right now. And this is one of the reasons why I am so busy, because one of my other businesses is a bookkeeping and accounting firm. So we are slammed this time of year in that business. It's always crazy. And no matter how much prep you can do, you'll always be super busy in December. So this time of year, it's a lot. I have all of that going on with that business. You've got all of the Christmas shopping to do. You're wanting to catch up with all of your loved ones in your life. Oh, it's crazy time of year. But I love it all. But it's important to focus. So I work really, really hard up until, the day that I break up for Christmas, and I give myself at least a week off every year. And in that time, the only work I will allow myself to do is the reflection or the planning for the next year. I won't do any physical work. And I love that. And it gives me that clarity of mind going into the new year. But there's so many people that, this is an astounding statistic, right? On Christmas Day in 2023, 4,757 people were filing their tax return on Christmas Day. Just goes to show the stresses of being an entrepreneur and how we have to find time to do all of these things. But I am begging you, right? If you were one of those last year, please give yourself some time off. Enjoy this time and make sure that you plan ahead to fit all of these things in that need to be done. Your tax return is not due until the 31st of January, right? We've got time. You don't need to be sitting down on Christmas Day and filing our tax return. It just blows my mind. So the 3 questions that I ask myself when I'm looking at the coming year, the 3 things I ask myself in my business is, what is my vision? What is my purpose? And what is my mission? I re-evaluate these every year so I can make sure that I'm still aligned with all of my goals. I still know where I'm going, and then I can plan and strategize how I'm going to get there. All these 3 things can change in a business because we as business owners change. When I first set up my business, my daughter was a baby. So one of the main priorities for me really was working as little as possible so I could be there for her and not miss out on those, those first words or the first steps, all of those glorious moments. Now she's older. She's obviously at full-time school. She's at loads of clubs and play dates. So she doesn't need me as much, which I'm not going to lie, breaks my heart a little bit. But moving on. So I have more time for work. So my purpose and my sort of vision for the business is different than where it was 10 years ago. My mission really hasn't changed that much. My mission is still to support business owners, to make a difference, to empower people. So the mission necessarily doesn't change, but maybe the values change as time goes on, but also the purpose and the why, what you're wanting from your business. So it's really important to ask yourself those 3 questions. I call this sort of the foundational work. Until you know the answer to those questions, you can't then build that really strong strategy for the coming year and plan exactly how you are going to achieve all those goals that you're setting yourself. There's been times, especially in the beginning, when we go back to when I set up the first business 10 years ago, that I did not have any strategy. I did not have any answers to these questions that I'm talking about now. I was completely flying blind. I was winging it and just seeing how each day panned out, basically. And, obviously I'm still here 10 years later, so it did pan out, but it made everything so much harder further down the line. So it's so important to get these foundational elements right in your business from the beginning and then build everything else off them. So that is what I have done with my further businesses. Thereafter, I've made sure that I know the end results of what I'm looking for my business. I know inside and out who I am wanting to help, why I am wanting to help them, and how I'm wanting to help them. So over this Christmas period, I would suggest just finding yourself a quiet place just for half an hour and ask yourself these questions. Who am I wanting to help? Why am I wanting to help them? And how am I wanting to help them? Once you ask yourself those questions, you can build the answers to the other questions around it. You can build your mission, your values, and your purpose around your business. And then once you know the answers to those, then you go on to, okay, what is it that I'm looking to achieve next year in my business? In the next 12 months, what am I wanting to do with my business? Once you have those bigger goals, you then break them down again. Okay, great. I want to build my email list to 1,000 people. What do I need to do to hit that target? And when am I wanting to hit that target? Because if you leave it open and you just say, okay, then one of the things I want to achieve is 1,000 people on my email list. That's great. But if you want to hit that in 5 years, in 5 months, and depending on the end timeline that you put on it will change how you go about making that a reality. So it's important to put end goals on them, timeframes, and then you say, okay, well, I'm wanting to achieve that in 5 months. So what do I need to do each month to make sure that I'm moving forward on that goal and I'm likely to achieve it? Then you have your strategy. This is my strategy for reaching 1,000 people on my email list in 5 months. It's tangible. It gives you something to track so you can see whether you are on track to achieving that 1,000 people. If you're not, you can pivot. One of my favorite words always makes me think of Ross from Friends. But you can pivot how you were doing it, what your strategy was. Do you need to, is some elements of it not working? Are some elements of it, missing that you need to add in? And this is where then the quarterly reflections come in that I mentioned earlier. So there's so much more to just looking back in your business the last 12 months. Yeah, I've made profit. Yes, I have achieved, my business is still open and trading. That's great. And then overwhelming yourself with what other people have achieved. Once you have reflected, though, in a healthy manner, and then you look at the future year, these are the things I want to achieve. You break that down into a strategy, a really strong strategy for each of your goals. You go into the next year so empowered. You have a plan. You know exactly what it is that you are wanting to achieve, and more importantly, how you are going to achieve it. And that is such a comforting, empowering feeling. You're not winging it anymore. You're not overwhelmed, confused, feeling judged by others or full of self-doubt. All of those negative emotions have completely disappeared because you have a solid plan and you know how you are going to achieve all of those goals. Suddenly they become more achievable because you have that drawn out, fully detailed strategy plan of how you can do it. So it's not just plucking things from the air anymore. And again, this is a point that I've spoken about. When it comes to setting the goals, have emotion and purpose behind them. So I hear all the time from clients, well, I want a 6-figure business. But when I ask them why, okay, that's great. Why have you set that target for yourself? Well, because it sounds great, because that's what I see people on Instagram. That's what I think I should be moving towards. There's no real reason to any of it. And when we're talking about 6-figure business, you could have a 6-figure turnover, but your overheads to get you there is so high, you're left with less profit than a 40 grand turnover can leave you. So having a 6-figure turnover means absolutely nothing. Just a quick FYI there. So when you're setting your goals, make sure that they again are with purpose and you have a valid reason and emotion as to why you want that. I want to, if we go back to that 1,000 people on your email list, you could say, I want to have 1,000 people on my email list because my conversion rate is X. And I know that if I have 1,000 people, I'll be bringing in X amount of income. The emotion comes in where you can say, if I bring in that amount of income, that can mean I can take my family on holiday, or I can do this, or buy the new house, whatever that might be, and how that would make you feel to be able to do that. So it's a journey, folks. And this is the time of year to review everything. Ask yourself the difficult questions. Stop just, faking it till you make it. Stop playing the game and really build yourself a strong strategy that will see you into 2025 and make all of those goals a reality. Thank you once again, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, for joining me in my first year of Female Founders on this mission to empower us all for greater things with our businesses. I would love to hear from you. Which was your favorite episode? And more importantly, what you would like to hear in season 3. We are coming back in January. Just going to check the date. It is the 8th of January. We'll be back with season 3. So if there's any specific topics that you would like covering, please do drop me an email at hello@claire-bartlett.co.uk, and I will make sure that we cover those for you in season 3. But for now, have the most amazing Christmas with your family and your loved ones. Have a wonderful new year, and I cannot wait to catch up with you on the other side. Take care. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, which was brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of female entrepreneurs and a proud sponsor of the Female Founders podcast. If you're running a small business and you're dreaming big, then Xero is here to help make those dreams a reality. Xero is all about supporting women like you, who are not just running businesses, but are also changing the game. So whether you're just starting out or you're scaling up, join a global community of female founders who trust Xero to manage their finances efficiently. Just visit refer.xero.com/female founders to learn more. But for now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with all the incredible female founders you know. And together, let's change what it means to be a female founder in today's world.